Controlling contraband in our prison and jails is one of the most important jobs we will ever have. And as correctional officers, we have many, many important jobs. We really should take controlling contraband very seriously because it is for the benefit of everyone behind the walls of our prison and jails. The safety and security of our institutions depend on us and how well of a job we do controlling contraband entering or exiting our prisons and jails. I urge every one of you, whether you're an officer, a civilian employee of the prison or jail, medical personnel, to know what to look for and how to spot signs of someone smuggling drugs into the jail or prison, or if you suspect possession of drugs or contraband or weapons, what to look for, and report it immediately to a supervisor so that we can save a life. Controlling contraband saves lives of the inmates and all the prison staff. We know that, right? But are we studying enough to keep up to date with the new methods that are coming in today into our prisons? There are many old methods and many new methods that are occurring every day today within our jails and prisons. And I'm going to talk about them and the devices that are used and the methods that are used. I can't talk about all of them, but I'm going to give you a lot of them. And I'm hoping that this opens up your mind to think outside the box and makes everyone aware that we have to look for contraband coming into our jails and prisons. No, I am not giving away secrets. The criminal element has already done the things that I'm about to talk about and used these methods to smuggle drugs into our jails and prisons. So newsflash, folks, many of these items I'm going to show you are for sale right now on Amazon. Right now you can buy many of these items I'm going to show you on Amazon that can be used to smuggle contraband into jails and prisons. So let's go ahead and start with some of these things that I would like to discuss with you, some of these devices that you need to be on the lookout for. And please let this open your mind to think outside the box and give us feedback on items that you've discovered during your workday, during your cell searches, things you found to help us pass the word along to other officers so we all can learn from each other. Isn't that what we do every day? 28.8 years for me in the jail and prison system, and I'm still learning. All right, let's start with stash bottles. Pictured here are Coca-Cola bottles that are used to smuggle contraband. Now, you say, why would the inmate have a 2-liter Coca-Cola bottle? Well, it's not always the inmates. If someone is going to smuggle something into a prison, could be a staff member, maintenance person, medical personnel, correctional officer. Unfortunately, we have to discuss this. These Coke bottles can come into the prison or jail. They do, and they have come in when we have events. We have a little squad barbecue or platoon luncheon or whatever it may be. These things can get into the prison, and look at this bottle. Plenty of room to stash. It actually has the original look. It has the Coke inside, but what's inside of the bottle is an extra container that can control or hold contraband that comes into the prison. Okay? Same thing with Coke cans, 7-Up cans, all for sale on Amazon. Stash cans, they're called, stash bottles. You know, these can come through in a lunchbox every day. You know, do we look at them? Do we twist them? Do we take a good hard look? I know we're short-staffed. I know that there may be only one person up front that can do the searches. People have to get in. They have to get to their workstations, their work assignments. But just think about it and kind of give a second look to these type of items when you're working in your prison or jail, if you're assigned to any of the entrances of your prison and jail. remember, it's not just care, custody, and control of inmates we do at the prisons and jails. Security. We are also security, and we have to be aware of what's coming in. What about meth-covered chocolate bars and food items? Now, this is a tough one. This is a very tough one. If someone's coming into the jail or prison who works there and they have their lunch, they may have a candy bar. Well, you're going to look at the candy bar, but how are you going to know that that this particular candy bar is a chocolate-covered meth bar? Probably won't be able to figure it out, but we need to know about these things in case they end up in the inmate's hands. What if this is during a cell search, you find a chocolate bar that is not sold in the canteen, such as this one in the picture? That should be a big sign right there. Well, of course, you confiscate it, write a report, and turn it in. And we need to educate everyone, supervisors and frontline alike. This chocolate bar may not be an actual chocolate bar. We need to find out why this chocolate bar is in the inmate's property when it's not sold in the canteen. Number one, big clue right there. Number two, can we report it? Can we get the jail detective? Can we get the prison inspector or your internal affairs folks and let them at least have a shot, maybe taking it to the lab and having it tested? What are we going to prove? Well, we may not prove who brought it in, but if we can prove it's meth, we have something to work on. We can charge the inmate criminally. Maybe the inmate will talk. Okay, all kinds of things that you have to think of. You have to think way outside the box and not just discard this candy bar, thinking it's just a contraband candy bar. Maybe there's something in it we need to find out. And of course, there's the body cavities and things with the human bodies. We have to search. When we search inmates, we need to search their belly buttons. Look, this man smuggled drugs in his belly button. We need to search areas that we're allowed to search per your policy and procedure. No, you can't go in and do a body cavity search. We know that. Follow your agency policy and procedures on searching visitors and searching inmates. Now, your visitors can also hide things within their hair. They can hide things within their bra, hidden compartments within the bra, in the waistbands, inside children's diapers, inside the hidden compartments of their shoes. We should all know this already, right? But this is a refresher course, okay? A refresher course today to remind us of places that visitors and inmates can hide things. And in some cases, a corrupt prison staff member will use these same locations to hide things, to smuggle drugs into a prison or jail. What about on the rec yard? Look at this football that was discovered by prison officers that had contraband in it. Look at this soccer ball that was discovered by officers that had contraband in it. That's an old method, right? I told you earlier we'll talk about new methods and old methods today. These are old methods that are still used very much today. You know, footballs, soccer balls, tennis balls filled with contraband and then thrown over the fence by someone hiding in the wood lines if you have a wood line, or someone hiding if you're in the city in the streets and throwing it over into the rec yard. Still goes on today. Even arrows have been used to have packets of contraband tied to the arrow and then shot over into the prison yard. So now what do you have? You have the drugs and a weapon, which is the arrow. Many, many, many things to look for in our very busy schedule that we already have, besides count, okay, besides medical call, besides, the attorney booth if you're in the jail, besides visitation. There's just so much we have to look for. It's not an easy job, but this is what we do, folks. This is how we stop potential deaths and injuries of everyone behind the walls. Then you have your drones, of course. And in this photo, an inmate is using a smuggled cell phone to actually guide the drone into the area that they want to drop off the drugs. Very dangerous when an inmate not only has a smuggled cell phone, but when they can guide a drone into the prison compound. This is not a good thing, and things we have to watch for. Why? And this is why we must do cell searches randomly, surprise cell searches, pat down searches when you can. And again, I emphasize, follow your policies and procedures. You know, if your agency has something in place that says notify a supervisor before a cell search, then do that. I don't want you to do anything that will get you in a problem with your supervisor, but I don't know why any supervisor would have a problem with anyone doing their job conducting cell searches, but there may be policies in place that you have to report ahead of time. And if there is, do it. I've been told by some officers that their agency requires you to say, hey, Sergeant, hey, Lieutenant, I'm going to do a couple of cell searches. I'm going to do Dorm H, cells 23 and cells 59. And if you have to do that, let's do it, because we don't want any issues. And then report what you find, tag it, bag it if it's criminal contraband, and report it. Salt containers with hidden contraband. Now, you say, okay, we don't, the inmates are served their food and we have our policies and procedures on what they get and how they get it. Correct. But I've worked in the prison and the jail during my career. And we have people bring salt shakers in, little Morton salt shakers in, or big ones that they keep in the control room. Now, I'm not trying to allude to anyone doing wrong, but we have to think outside the box. And these salt containers now come on Amazon with hidden compartments again to bring in contraband. I'm trying to open your minds up to all the things that surround you. It's almost as if anything around you could possibly have contraband. A pen, okay, in a pocket. Cigarettes are not in every prison and jail are allowed anymore, but cigarette packs, tobacco packs, chewing tobacco packs, you know, anything. Keep an open mind and watch. What about Clorox bleach wipes, the container? Another one sold on Amazon with a stash container in it. Now, I've worked at the prison and jails, and I've personally, we were allowed to, it's up, I don't know if your agency allows it, we were allowed to bring these in because I like to wipe down my officer station before I take over, or take over and then clean it up, you know, get relieved properly, go through the counts, everything checks out, get my little briefing from the off-going shift, and then clean up. Hey, some people do, some people don't. It just depends on who you are. But these items do get into the jails and prisons. Again, don't take it personally, but let's check these containers for hidden compartments. And don't take it personally. Let me add while I'm on that point. If your agency does put you through the metal detector when you come into work as an employee, or they do search your lunch boxes and they do require clear bags, don't take that personally. It's all part of the system we're in. It's all part of the protection plan. You should be happy that your agency is doing that. They're not saying they mistrust you. They're just doing their job by having you checked before you come into the jail or prison. Okay? Because we do have, from time to time, a bad apple. And that bad apple is placing you and me in danger. We have to do these things. Okay? So I'm kind of talking about today about everything, the whole gamut. Searching the inmates, searching the visitors, searching the employees. It's all part of the job, folks. Don't take it personal. And if you are an honest employee, why in the world do you have anything to worry about? Take it with a grain of salt and move on. What about book safes? Here's a dictionary for sale on Amazon again. Okay? And I'm an officer that carries a dictionary because I can't spell very good. And when I write my reports, I need to make sure my spelling is correct. Well, if I'm a good officer, there's no problem. But what if I'm a bad apple? Maybe I've got something stashed in that dictionary. Open up these things, folks. Look at them. Look inside. Check them out. It's called a book safe. It's for sale on Amazon. What about your volunteers? Your church volunteers, counselors, teachers, psychologists bringing their books in. Have we not ever had one of them go bad on us? Break bad on us? Do the wrong thing? Check these books out. Check them out. It doesn't hurt. Take a second. Open it up. Deodorants with the inmates. Now, we all know about that. We all know that deodorants can be a great place for the inmates to hide things. So when you're doing your cell searches, they can carve holes inside the deodorant soaps and in bars of soap and deodorant, underarm deodorant. Check those. Check those thoroughly. If they have the little shampoo bottles that we issue. Just because we issued those shampoo bottles does not mean that the inmates have not taken that and put something down inside wrapped in plastic. So have your little search tool ready. Don't stick your finger down in there, and swish around and see if you can feel any objects inside those shampoo bottles. And if you do, dump it out. We can always get another one later that we issue for shampoos. If they have shampoos that they're allowed to order per policy and procedure of the jail or prison, they all are the same. Treat them all the same. Check them. Get down in there and check them. What about money and breads? Money and foods. We talked about that. So I'm going to move into the delivery section now. Delivery trucks bringing breads and fruits in, and somebody on the outside is being paid to put contraband in a certain loaf of bread. And only the inmates in food service, a inmate or more inmates, know how that loaf of bread is marked. You receive 100 loaves of bread, but the inmates unloading the truck and taking it into food service are aware of which loaf of bread to look for. Bananas coming in. Which banana box is marked in a certain way that only the inmates know. We can't search every loaf of bread. We can't search every banana, but we need to be aware that these things can come in this manner. So we need to watch the loading and unloading of these vendor trucks. Maybe we'll see something that sparks us to say, stop, let me look at that. And if we don't, once inside food service, we need food service officers or personnel trained on to watch the inmates closely and what to look for. Any suspicious activity. Did the inmates unload the bread and then put one loaf off to the side somewhere? Why is this loaf of bread off to the side? Maybe instead of just handing that loaf of bread that was placed off to the side back to the inmate to put with the rest of the bread, let's check that loaf of bread just for the heck of it. You never know. That might be the jackpot of the day, and you've stopped some contraband coming into the jail or prison. Drug smuggling devices in prisons and jails are becoming more complex every year. More ideas are being brought about. And what's sad in a way, these devices that are all for sale on Amazon and other places as well, they are put out there as if they're for the general public, to hide your keys. And you can use it in the general public to hide your keys, to hide your money so people don't steal it from you. But the problem is these devices are being picked up rapidly by the criminal element and being used in our prisons and jails. So what I'm asking all of you to do is think outside the box. I've given you some ideas today. I could sit here for 3 hours and go over things and ways that contraband could come in to our jails and prisons. You can think outside the box yourself. I know you all do, and I know you can. Let this just be a refresher to remind you of our duty to stop contraband coming into our prison and jails. Save your fellow officer's life. Save civilian prison staff's life. And save the lives of other inmates that aren't involved in contraband smuggling, and are there trying to do their time and go home, right? Because we want everybody to go home safe. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that everybody thinks outside the box and has contraband on their mind, even during our busiest times of the day, during feeding time, count time, medical pass, and so forth. Keep it on your mind, folks. Thank you. Gary York, True Prison Stories.